is up, and welcome back to 24 Minutes of A24, the podcast that takes a look at the A24 library 24 minutes at a time. I'm Ethan Simi.
And I'm Ben Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we're headed to a cult to enjoy some tunes as we discuss A24's latest movie, Opus.
A writer travels to the compound of a pop icon who disappeared years ago, surrounded by his cult of sycophants as well as a group of fellow journalists. She soon discovers his twisted plans for the gathering. Ben, we're fucking back. We're back.
People doubted us. They doubted us, and here we are. We're proving them wrong.
I know people don't normally talk like this. We want to be one of the greats, and we just want to achieve greatness. We want legacy. We want to be in the same conversation as all the other premier pods out there.
Yeah,
and
we want to be there with Big Pig. We want to be there with WTF. We want to be there with all the big pods. We just want greatness.
Yeah. We want to be there with the movie draft pod. Quite honestly, we want to be on that level. And we're, we are the two of the three of the movie draft pod. So
soon to be on video.
Soon to be on video. Exactly. Very exciting. Welcome back to 24 Minutes of A24. Not only is this our first episode of 2025, this is our first episode in, approximately 3.5 months. We took a little bit of a hiatus for the Academy Awards, for the Oscars, for life. We had a lot of things going on. Mm-hmm. And, in order to deliver the best pod and be one of the greats, I think the break did us well and did us some great stuff. We will be a little different coming back from the break. I think instead of weekly, we're going to be, what do they call it? Is it bi-monthly?
I think bi-weekly. Bi-monthly, I think would just be once every 2 months. I don't know. Bi-weekly,
I think, is twice a week. So I think it's bi-monthly, right. Twice a month.
Maybe it's bi-monthly, yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely not doing
it twice a week. So yeah,
it's unbelievable that we're behind microphones and we get to talk, and we don't know these words. We're gonna be doing the pod every other week. So instead of every Friday, we're gonna be every other Friday, and for at least the next couple of months, we're gonna just be covering new releases. A24 has a lot of new releases, and we're gonna be talking about those. I did want to quickly talk about what we talked about on our last episode, A24 at the Oscars. Did you enjoy the Oscars? You enjoy the Academy Awards this year?
As a Conan truther, for as long as I can remember, I was so happy with his hosting job. I think he did an amazing job. He's always been my favorite. Him and Letterman were my two I would watch every night. So I love seeing him, get this recognition and stuff like that with this. So I think he did a great job. The Oscars themselves were perfectly fine. Some surprises for sure, but overall, I was happy with it.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you're saying. Conan will be back for the 2026 Academy Awards, already deemed as happening, which is really exciting. I thought Conan was great. I think the Academy Awards were fine. I liked a lot of things and didn't like a lot of things. I don't know why we did a James Bond tribute in the middle of the show.
That was wild.
I thought that was strange. But
that was so wacky.
We're not here to litigate nor think about the Academy Awards because we're moving on to the future. And as I say that, I realized that I did make a note here that I wanted to talk about what we guessed for A24.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the focus of the last pod, was A24 at the Oscars.
That's true.
I had guessed that there would be, I think, four wins for A24. You thought there were going to be 2 wins. There did, in fact, end up being, I think, only 2 wins? 3 wins. Excuse me. 3 wins for The Brutalist. The same film. Cinematography, score, and Best Actor in Adrien Brody. You didn't guess any of those, but I did get Adrien Brody and cinematography correctly. And I just want you to know that.
I'm just I see Brody next to my actor, and I don't know if that's just an oversight or if you just wanted to pad your stats a little more, but that's...
I think it's a bit of both, honestly.
That's cool. I'll take it.
I run the notes. They are what I make them. Okay, so you really guessed Brody, huh? You hadn't seen The Brutalist at that time.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, those are some notes. Maybe I should get that checked. We got to go back. Oh yeah, I do see a Brody next to you. Huh.
Maybe I'm just reading them wrong. I probably am.
You probably went in pre-pod and you changed those tonight is probably what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened. When I knew you were recording the other pod, I'm like, I'm going to get in the notes.
Yeah, you're getting the notes. Only other thing that I want to mention is Civil War, not nominated for sound. I liked that movie. Thought it was quite good.
I mean, yeah, same. I was shocked that it didn't get that. I thought that was awesome.
Fear not, we have another Alex Garland warfare flick, literally.
We do.
Called Warfare, coming up in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks here.
Yeah, a couple episodes from now we'll be talking about Warfare. Can I talk about another movie that we're going to be talking about? Because
Please.
I saw the Bring Her Back trailer in theaters.
Oh,
I don't think I'm ready for that movie, dude. I love Talk to Me, obviously, but I was scared for that one as well. And this one is kind of freaking me out already. It's like, damn, this is the Philippou brothers. They know what they're doing. This looks good.
Bring Her Back looks absolutely scary.
Yeah.
So it looks much scarier to me than Talk to Me.
Yeah.
The trailer, I think, has a lot of the similar vibes, which is really exciting. And I did, in fact, see this trailer in theaters as well. This is going to be a good movie. Currently slated to release on May 30th, I believe, which sounds to me like the perfect little amuse-bouche to the blockbuster summer. And I think this is a wise release date for May 24.
Yeah, for sure. I think this will be very smart on their part. Thunderbolts will have been out for a little while as far as box office is concerned. So I think this is a nice in-between for these summer blockbusters.
Speaking of other things that have happened that we have not get to talk about, of course, there are a lot of things that we will not be covering, and we'll come back around eventually. Materialists trailer. Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, all under the guise of Celine's song. How are we feeling about that?
I've been afraid to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh, you haven't watched the trailer?
I haven't watched the trailer.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's very
I was at work when it released, and then I just haven't watched it at home on a TV yet. I'm nervous because I love Past Lives so much. Anyone that's listened to this knows that. So it's the sophomore album, it's like, are they going to be able to pull it off again? We'll see. The cast is it's a known cast. You know what I mean? Our biggest, it is it compared to Past Lives?
It is.
John Magaro is our star for Past Lives, basically.
I think that is working against this film. I won't say anything about the trailer other than the fact that I'm generally pro on the trailer that I thought was kind of remarkably uninteresting. So I don't know. Dakota Johnson, I'm pro. She's a very specific flavor. Chris Evans has only been in dog shit for 7 years, and I just don't have faith. And I'm gonna be the guy, but everybody and their mom loves Pedro Pascal. He's just not for me. I don't know. He's in everything, and I don't really care. So this triumvirate of people is pretty uninteresting to me on a personal level.
No,
even though they're not.
I don't fall under that. They're not uninteresting to me, but I'm worried they're too big, that it's going to put these expectations on this movie. So who knows? We'll see what happens. We
will see. We did get another trailer. We don't have to dive into it, but we did get the trailer for Tim Robinson's new flick, Friendship, that comes out on May 9th. Materialist coming out June 13th. Friendship coming out May 9th. I saw it back at TIFF. I can't wait to talk about this movie. I can't wait to see this movie again. Have you seen the trailer for that? I think I texted you about that. Yeah.
No, I'm super excited for this. I love that humor. This looks really good to me.
It looks so good. I've been rewatching I Think You Should Leave as of late, and just getting prepped to re-enter the Friendship spin zone. And boy, it's exciting stuff. Okay. Let's talk about what we are here to talk about, which is not trailers. It is a feature film. This feature film is starring Ayo Edebiri and John Malkovich, and is about a cult and music. It's called Opus. We have seen this film. It is a film that exists. Let's start with our general thoughts. Of course, as per usual, it will be a spoiler conversation, and we'll go through and do true cinema, and we'll do an A1 Act, A24 ranking. We'll get out of here. Good movie? Did you like Opus?
No. to put it plainly, no, I don't know that this is a good movie. Is this a debut? I mean, I don't know anything else Mark Anthony Green has done.
Let's see. It looks like Mark Anthony Green did a 32-minute pseudo short film in 2017.
Okay.
That I don't really see a whole lot on. And then something else that was also 30 minutes. So yeah, I would say this is a directorial feature. I guess like that's a good question. I'm not necessarily interested or concerned as much. Oh, interesting. Okay, Mark Anthony Green also wrote this film. I was going to go that direction. I think this movie is supremely underwritten and uninteresting.
Yeah.
And I was like, is the writer of this film, is this their first one? And it's also Mark Anthony Green. Which, like, I don't know him, so, you know, no ill will. But
yeah, for sure.
I share the same opinion as you. Opus, not good.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't for me. It felt maybe kind of hollow. Maybe just like there was a shell of a good idea or an interesting idea, and it just never quite got filled. Like it was just like, oh, what if this happened? Like I have an idea for a cool premise. And you do, like a pop star comes back from like 30 years and then invites a certain amount of people. Like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, why would they invite these people? All that kind of stuff. But then to me, nothing comes to fruition. Nothing comes of it. Like, even when they're explaining the reasons of why they brought these people or killed them or something, like, to me, it just didn't matter. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like Juliette Lewis's character, you know, she was mocking me for being bald, so I'm going to be here and like make her bald. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't anything that was kind of just like tied, and they just made such a big deal about what these people's professions were. So it's like, oh, this must be part of why they brought them here, and they're going to do like a 7 kind of thing of just like, all right, you are sloth, or this is how you're going to die. Like, but there just seemed to be no rhyme or reason, in my opinion. And maybe I misread it, but it's just like, I don't know. Nothing's really making sense here. Why these people are dying, or why this is happening. I also don't know that. I think they gave good performances. I think, but I'm not sure. Io and John Malkovich.
I don't know if this is their best outing.
I'm not sure that it is, and I love Crazy Malkovich, but it's just. Man, it's just too far to picture him as like a pop star of the 80s or 90s or whatever, you know. It's just like, no, I don't see him having been that, you know. Like I just had a hard time buying into it. And then someone had mentioned that like he keeps getting referenced to as a genius, but it's like, what are we seeing that shows that? Like nothing seems to be backing that up. So a shell of an interesting idea, unfortunately, just falls insanely flat for me. This cast deserved better, I think. Like, I love Murray Bartlett. I think he's hilarious, and he just deserved more in this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I want to touch on a lot of that. I found it interesting real quick so it doesn't leave my mind. I was going through kind of the crew of this film. Angelique Midthunder was the casting director of this movie. And funnily enough, she also did casting for The Curse, which I thought was a little interesting. Not quite sure if that means anything, but I found that fascinating to say the least. She also did casting for When You Finish Saving the World, an A24 stable gal. Very interesting there. Something to note.
That is interesting.
I echo everything that you have mentioned. I think this movie has some interesting ideas that it had the possibility to really expand upon. I love that you talked about how everybody had different jobs and they were all from different forms of media, and coming to the compound of a world-renowned artist who has basically left the public eye for 30 years to come back. I think there's like a lot there to talk about, right? Like, how has the landscape changed? How have people migrated from journalism to podcasts to television to social media influencer? Like, there's a lot on the bone there, and it just like pushes that away pretty substantially. Doesn't tackle anything about that at all. I actually thought John Malkovich's character was pretty cool of Moretti. I like the register that he's doing here. I like his, and we'll get into it when we do True Cinema, I like his kind of really weirdo dancing and like erotic kind of seduction that he's doing, and trying again, on a thematic level, to like find his way back to whatever media, outlet is calling him, essentially.
Mhm.
And I think there's things there. I don't think any of it materializes to anything interesting at all. It just, we basically got like 35 or 40 minutes into this movie, and like that was kind of the toppling point for me, where I was like, oh, I guess we're not exploring any of this. Like, I guess we're just here. And it's building, and I was like giving it credit, really along for the journey. Like, okay, how is this all going to come together? And then it just forfeited all of that potential. So that was really a bummer. Somebody had asked me on social media of like, do I use my, my all access A24 ticket that I get? Should I go? Like, do I use this ticket? It's a free ticket. I mean, sure, do as you wish. I responded saying like, this definitely feels like, oh, A24 dropped this 4 months ago and now it's streaming on Max and I've got nothing to watch on Tuesday while I build a Lego. Okay, I'll put on Opus.
Yeah, I think it's funny you say that, because that was literally my first thought when the movie ended. Is like, I wish I had seen this when it was free. Like, because I, got that ticket as well,
Yeah.
But obviously, like, I was gone and I just wasn't able to make that happen, to see that in that time frame. So that was my first thought. It's like, and I only paid like a matinee price. Like, I didn't pay a lot to see it, but I was still just like, damn, seeing this for free would have made it a whole lot better to swallow for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I do agree with what you're saying as well. I think Malkovich gives a fun, like, kooky performance. I just have a hard time buying him as like ever being any sort of pop star. So it's a hard balance of like, can you find someone who seems like they fit that role better, but can still reach the levels of like absurdity that Malkovich does? I don't know who that is off the top of my head. So it's a hard thing to cast.
I think too, I mean, the movie doesn't do any service to like explaining why he's so famous and why he shaped music culture for 30 years. All it does is give us like a 60-second montage of like, he's the most selling artist of all time. Everybody loves him. And then we're just like singing his songs. And it's like, okay, cool. Everybody does that with Chappell Rowan and Charlie and Lady Gaga and everybody. Like that just happens now. And I think to that effect, like, really missed the overlap on like the thematic ideas of this movie and then everything that goes into Moretti's character. Like, it just, they don't feel like they mesh up or mold at all. Let me ask you quickly before we talk about this movie anymore generally or get into true cinema. So I'm reading through the the log line of the movie. Surrounded by a star's cult of sycophants and intoxicated journalists, she finds herself in the middle of his twisted plan. Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Breaks are off here. What is his twisted plan? Could you tell me based on what you've seen of this film?
I feel like they tried to tell us that in the final scene, but it just, it didn't track for me. It's like, there's so many other ways this could have been handled that there's no way this was your master plan after 30 years. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's like, you could have done this so many other ways and kind of achieve the same thing. So I don't know that it makes any sense at all.
I don't think it does. I don't understand what his twisted plan was. We'll talk about it in true cinema, but like the final 10 minutes of this movie are supposed to act as this big reveal of Moretti's actually been in charge the whole time. And, obviously stems from 25 and 35 years of movies that take the final 10 minutes to twist it and say, oh, well, this is actually all the villain's doing. And this is all actually under control. That's nothing new. And when it's done effectively, it can be very effective. And when it doesn't work, it is like incredibly noticeable. His twisted plan is to get people to wear his necklaces on national television. Is that like what we had decided at the end of this?
That's kind of
like, I'm genuinely confused. I don't know.
Like, if I kill people, I'll become popular and people will want to follow me. Like, that's kind of what I took away from it. They'll buy our pearls or whatever. It's just like, what?
So
like
weird.
that whole part
weird.
Got me too, with the oysters and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it was weird.
Very weird. Let's dive into this movie. The only other question I had, I guess, generally is like, is Io good in this movie? hot take, like, Io's incredible. Love her online presence. Shout out our Criterion Closet queen. You know, she's doing incredible stuff every day. I don't think she's very good in this movie. I don't think anybody is really good in this movie.
No, this just didn't seem like a great role for her. And we'll talk about it when we get to those scenes, but there was quite a few scenes where it's like, man, I feel like I'm getting zero emotion out of Io in this when they should like really be hitting home some feelings right now and nothing is happening. So I don't know how much of it is her and how much of it is the script, but it was a bad combo to say the least.
Totally agreed. Okay. True cinema time. Let's dive into this opening montage. We basically get this idea of, okay, Moretti is back and he is a phenomenon that has returned out of the blue and he is taking over the world. Massive cameo of people everywhere singing his new hit. And we get a little Tony Hale cameo here. And at the end, like, can I just ask,
just filmed that in his house, right? Like,
what the fuck was that about? Like, what was that?
That seemed like some COVID pandemic. Like, we'll teach you how to set up your phone. Just film this on a green screen and send it to us. Like, was anybody around Tony Hale this whole time? Like, it was
no,
noticeably bad.
Not at all. I have two other things to say about this. The first thing is a really minute thing that probably doesn't matter, but it really irked me when I saw this. When we are first going into, like, we do this slow zoom on this new YouTube, on basically on Tony Hale's YouTube video, where he's like, Moretti is back.
Oh,
these are the things that are happening. Yes. The time doesn't play. Like, the video is playing, but the timestamp on the bottom of the YouTube video does not move from like 7 seconds or 9 seconds or whatever it is. So the timestamp is frozen, but the video is playing. And I just thought as a viewer, guys, what the hell? Like, you should be watching this as an editor and being like, oh, a YouTube video is playing. The time should probably move with it.
Did you see how long the video was supposed to be as well? Like, that's what got me.
It was like 1 minute and 11 seconds or something.
Yeah, it was like just one minute. That's all. I was like, oh, this is going to cut off soon.
It was like a
just
4-minute video.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and how did they miss this? Like, this is pretty
like you said, it's
minute, but it's also just like, it's a detail you should notice.
It's incredibly frustrating. I don't want to read too much into that, but it's hard not to when the movie is like quite poor and you're like, oh, like, okay, I don't know if we were all really here the whole time.
Like, yeah, if you didn't pay attention to that detail, what details were you paying attention to?
Exactly.
I don't know.
The other thing to note in this scene, Zoe and Lenny Kravitz cameo. Did you catch this?
I don't remember seeing Zoe. I remember seeing Lenny, right, driving in his car.
Yeah, so Lenny's driving in his car. Zoe, I believe, is on the like, it was like an indoor cycling bike or the Peloton at the gym. Very brief. The only reason that I think it was her, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen the film, but I'm pretty sure it was her, A, because Lenny is also cameoed here, and B, because I just watched the studio. By the time that this episode comes out, the studio will come out in a week, or essentially a week, on March 26th. I've seen the whole first season of the studio. She cameos in that show unbelievably hard. And so when I saw what I believe to be her in Opus, I was like, Zoe really getting out there. She's just cameoing in everything these days. And
I like it.
Kind of checked out for me, I guess. Good for her.
One of the 5 best Catwomen of all time.
Yeah. Give me your Catwomen rankings on the spot.
Oh,
what's your Are you going by like actual performance? Like, what's the criteria here? You know?
It's a combo of, performance and looks and everything, but Michelle Pfeiffer is just locked in at number 1, and then we can debate the rest of them.
Yeah, we can do that another time. Anne Hathaway. Christopher Nolan did her dirty. Let's just put that out there.
Yeah, but I mean, as an Anne Hathaway lover, it's hard not to just be happy to have seen her in that. But yeah, again, to me, no one's touching Michelle Pfeiffer. So
yeah, untouchable. Number 1. Okay, next True Cinema, the mosquito monologue. This is a monologue that Moretti goes on about how he was hanging out with Muhammad Ali and Chuck Norris, and they continually tried to one-up each other in the ways that they would kill a mosquito. Yeah. I get that it's a little bit of a strange monologue, and it does have this alluring nature where you're like, okay, where are we going? This is weird. Moretti is kind of off his hinges. I get it now. And, by this time we're at the compound and people have given up their phones, which is like red flag number one.
Mhm.
And so this monologue happens, and I was maybe one of 4 people in this theater. So obviously like pretty dead silent after this. What was the point here?
I can tell you that me and the one other person that was in my theater did not know or still don't know because it's just like, what? I have no idea if it was just trying to capture the room's attention. And so I'm going to tell this long, drawn out story that I don't think actually obviously happened or anything like that. But yeah, it was such a strange story and such a fall flat story as well. But it's like, was that intentional? Was he just trying to get them to listen for a long time, or I don't know. I have no clue.
I can see it from the standpoint of we really need to show you Moretti's magnetism and why people listen to him and why they're there, and like how much of a cult it really is. I thought it was too weird. It just really, I thought it was kind of quite dumb, actually. We move on to the dinner sequence, the dinner roll, everybody taking a bite out of this dinner roll. I love the idea of this, of like, okay, we're all feasting from what Moretti has given us here. This is incredible. We all take a bite out of fame. We all want to bite at the apple. Like I totally understand the philosophical version of what we're going for here. And then it just ends and like just kind of doesn't really matter. Also, like Io, I think if I remember correctly, like Io's character like doesn't really want to eat it, or was that somebody else's character? There was something weird that didn't line up.
Yeah, it was her that didn't want to eat it. And again, it's like an opportunity that got missed because we even do see a close up of the bread, but I think it's supposed to look to us like it's saturated in everyone's saliva and stuff like that. But it just doesn't come across that way. It just looks kind of like a piece of bread that's like maybe a little wet, and she doesn't want to eat it. She takes a little nibble and passes it on. Like, I get the hygiene, gross aspect of it, of them breaking bread, like literally by eating it all. But it just, like, yeah, it's another one of those things of like, interesting idea, but like, where are you going with this? Like, what's happening with this? And I don't know that it knows.
I don't think it's good enough just to say this cult is weird. Look at this weird cult that follows Moretti. I don't think that services this movie enough to then build an extra 55 minutes around it and say like, oh, we just like, we kill people and we have this weird religion called Level. Like, there's nothing explored here, which brings me to the next point. The pool conversation about Level. I actually like this like a lot in the grand scheme of the movie. I think this is interesting because Io's character goes on the run on a run. Amber Midthunder, interestingly enough, in Opus and Novocaine, both opened on the same weekend to quite poor box office numbers. Not to her fault whatsoever, just poor films in general, unfortunately. Io's character goes for a run. She has to be followed. She then gets to Moretti at the pool, and I thought like, oh, cool, we're one-on-one. This is where things are going to get interesting. And they didn't really, which is kind of the moral of this movie.
Yeah, it's like the conversation didn't go really anywhere. And then there's the whole sequence of, I'm going to kind of like transfer us into this next talking point here. But it's like, what do we do together? Like, what do you guys do together that, that cults inherently do something together? He's like, oh, let me show you. And I think it's supposed to be this huge reveal. And it doesn't mean
anything.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, I don't know. And we get him, we get someone in this like yurt that's shucking oysters, basically, looking for the pearls. Oysters have pearls, right? Not clams. I don't know. I feel like I'm saying the wrong thing, but
I don't know. First, you don't know how to
in the chat.
Bi-weekly. Let us know.
Whatever thing gives you pearls, they're shucking those, and they're going so fast that they kind of like slice into their hands. And that's one thing that we see throughout the movie is like these injuries that everyone has on their hands from them doing this. But again, it's just like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't get it.
I think the reveal really falls flat. I'm going to answer your question. Pearls are made by marine oysters and freshwater mussels.
Oh, muscle. Okay. Always
Could have been
gotcha.
could have been either. Could have been both.
Yeah.
I think this reveal does nothing, doesn't really mean anything to the effect of the kind of scars on the hand. We see this continuously from lots of people here throughout the film. I think this is the one thing that like they got kind of right, I guess, is that at least what I think they were going for here is like, okay, they are attributing all of these cuts and scars and things on people's hands to this action that they call diving, where they try to get these pearls out of here. And we see it happen, and that's what we believe. Lo and behold, we get to the end when Io's character escapes, and obviously she shows similar signs on her hand from the barbed wire fences. And I think that is like the movie's way of saying like, see, people are trying to escape. You thought they were actually part of the cult, and they were trying to get pearls, but they're not. They're trying to escape. Although, not once do we ever explore the idea of someone trying to escape, talking about escaping, talking about life outside the cult, anything regarding that. So, brings me back to this scene doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. There's no payoff for it. There's no intention behind it. And yeah, if something is in a script, but either doesn't come back later on or isn't explored well enough, it's just like, why is that there? Everything seemingly should have a purpose, especially in a movie like this, where it makes you feel like everything should have intention.
Yep.
You know, like everything we're going to do has an intention. And then essentially the movie just ends. It's like, wait, none of that mattered. Like there's no payoff for any of that stuff.
Yeah. That moves us next to the listening session for Moretti's new album. Perhaps the weirdest part of the movie, where John Malkovich is like dressed in a silver robot suit and dancing around people in a circle. I will say, back several years ago when Kanye was of right mind and making cool music, and doing his kind of Sunday service that he was known for doing in LA, he did come to Adidas, the place of my employment, and performed a Sunday service for us in our in a very small location on campus. I got big vibes of that, which I thought was interesting. Like I thought that was fascinating. You know, this idea of kind of this insular performance of one guy that is larger than life, larger than media, really larger than culture, trying to kind of impress the few number around him. And I think there's something to be said there. It's good. I liked this part, except it didn't, like, I don't know. To me, it didn't last long enough. I would have watched this for another like 6 or 7 minutes. I thought the music should have been more. I just thought it should have been more present.
Yeah, I agree with that. That we should have gotten more of the music. To me, this was the scene as I'm watching. I was like, oh, this is why they got Malkovich, because he commits 100%. He's totally like, you never don't believe Malkovich as far as like his intent behind it or like how much he's giving. He gives 100% to this film, but it's just like the character itself. Like, I just don't know that I buy him as that character, but Malkovich is falls to the wall. And this scene is a great example of that. Just him dancing around, dancing with everybody. I mean, like giving lap dances, like mimicking, like giving head, just all this kind of stuff. But he's doing it with such just energy and stuff. It's like, okay, like this is kind of fun. Like this is exciting. I can see why this person was captivating to the world 30 years ago. Like if this person existed 30 years ago, I can see why you'd be excited about them.
Sure. It was an exciting part of the movie that, again, I think like just didn't explore it enough. Like I love that idea of him being really sexually charged with all of these people. And that is very cultish. And I would have loved to see more of that. Then things start to get weird. One of the people gets a cough and is kind of escorted away to really the infirmary of the compound. And then you kind of start to think, okay, things are going a little south. Up until this point, there's been one guy that's kind of gone missing. We had an idea. He went out for a massage, and then some nefarious business took place off screen, and we heard tell of such a thing. So there's this kind of like ongoing narrative of like, where is this guy? What is happening? Which is fine, but the hater in me is like, okay, I've seen this 100 times. Like, when are we going to get interesting? So we get some woman gets a cough here. Stan is walking out eventually and catches an arrow. I thought it was through the heart. It looked like it was through his heart. It might have been through his kind of like upper shoulder. And people really start to just like kind of go off. It to me goes really heavy into the Midsommar back 40 minutes. Like, oh no, things are like, okay, now we all know things are bad.
I think that is something that Opus definitely has going against it, is that's being distributed by a studio who has told these stories so well. You know, it's just like, no, I'm sorry, you guys. Like, not only is there a better movie, it's from the same studio. And it's just so, it's hard not to think about that as you're watching this. Like, man, I've seen other movies just in general do it better. Like, it's different but the same. I recently, for the first time, watched Blink twice. You know, and there's some of that there too.
Don't spoil it. I don't know any of the plot. Which I
won't say anything there, but there's just like certain elements where it's like, okay, so I just saw this, you know, or something like that. It's like, okay, other movies have done this. What are you doing that's unique? And nothing really felt unique about it.
We get the reveal of the phones in the shed. Again, lends itself to like the non-uniqueness of this. And like, I don't want to keep comparing it, but like it's Midsommar, like you know, where they find the guy in the chicken coop and it's like, uh-oh, shit's gone bad. And so now we have to react. Io, her character's name is Ariel. She finds the phones in the shed. And then basically is like, I gotta go. I gotta get away from here. Again, it's the same thing Danny does in Midsommar. And basically, everybody talks her down and is like, the bus isn't here. You can't take the you know, little quads because they're only going to get you whatever 7 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And then you got to walk the other 60 or whatever it is. Yeah. So they're like, watch this children's puppet show. The kid obviously is like, won't you please watch the show we worked so hard to create? She says, okay. She's like, as long as I can see when the bus comes in and I'm leaving right away, blah, blah, blah. We get to the puppet show, The Tragedy of Billy. Now, on a thematic level, I like what this puppet show is saying specifically about kind of the parasitic nature of the underworld of media, the rat nature of people who degrade celebrities and stardom and really leech onto that. And this is where things really get crazy. I guess you could say I wasn't really impressed with the lady popping out of the beanbag, but maybe others were.
No, I mean, maybe, but I don't fall into that camp. It was interesting leading up to it because they do move Io's beanbag so she can see the window.
Yep.
And they were noticeably struggling with it. Like, oh, why is this beanbag so heavy? That's kind of strange. So that was weird. But then, what happens. And then it's just like chaos for a while with, you know, people trying to leave. We get the one woman who like looks at the shard of glass and you think like, oh, she's going to grab it and like try to attack someone. And then just like nothing happens with it. Like just like never, again, nothing happens. It's so ridiculous. So I don't know. This movie's just so frustrating. It's like, why it is such a shell of a good idea. But like you said, we're comparing it to Midsommar. It's like if you ordered Midsommar off Shein or something, like this is what you would get, which is like not quite what you ordered, but like there's hints of it.
Yeah. I wonder if we feel so strongly because it, like you said, it kind of does have this shell of like, this could be a good movie. This could be like quite an entertaining movie.
Yeah.
But it falls flat on all accounts. I'm just trying to think back at movies we have done here on the pod where both of us are just like, boy, bad movie. Like that's just like not a good movie, but it's like much less frustrating just because we know it is like outright not a very good movie. I'm trying to think of what is the movie with Jessica Alba? What was that? Do you remember doing that?
Oh.
With Haley Steinfeld.
Barely Lethal.
Fucking terrible movie. That has really interesting Wikipedia black holes that we had a great time exploring. but like not nearly as frustrating just because it's a bad movie. Like there's nothing it's trying to do. This, on the other hand, trying to do a lot. The woman breaks out of the beanbag. Like you said, things just get like crazy for a while, which I didn't really think was necessary. They stab her like a million times. Io's character runs away to like this demo house where she tries to call 911, and it just plays like an audio message that's pre-recorded. She sees that Bill Lotto's head, this guy who I previously mentioned was kind of the first one to fall off from the massage chair incident or massage table. We didn't really know what happened to him. Turns out, Midsommar. They turned his head into a wreath. So I found that really grating. And it made me groan. I literally, like, the camera panned to the wreath, and I was just like, ugh, guys, no. Yeah.
I think part of, again, what's frustrating is we don't really understand. They're so subtle about the fact that, what's the guy's name? Like the main, like Malkovich's name? I don't remember.
Moretti.
Moretti, yeah. Moretti and Bill Otto, like, have this, like, rivalry from back in the day and stuff. But it just feels like they don't really talk about it. It's like everything's just so subtle, just like in passing. Like they don't really address it that much. And then at dinner, he's like, hey, I just want to apologize. Like, oh, water under the bridge. We're fine. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then obviously he's the first one to go. But it's just like, what? Why in a wreath? Why not like, if you really want to like make it a trophy, you know what I mean? Like put like on a
now
buck,
that would be interesting. You know what I mean? That would mean something.
That's like this is the kind of stuff where it's like I feel like there's ways that you could execute these people tied to their job and what they've done to you, and they just didn't. They made it a wreath. Like I don't get it. I don't know.
They could have sevened it for sure. I skipped over this. We only have a couple more true cinema points here. I skipped over this, but in your opinion, what was the point other than to say like, oh no, Moretti's a weird cult leader? What was the point of the shaving of the pubes?
I just saw it as a control thing. Like, would these people let you get away with it? Yeah. Will they submit to everything that we're asking them to do?
Okay.
That's how I took it. But
yeah. That's fair. I think we spent far too much time on that, and I thought it really could have derailed the pace of the film. But so then things continue to get weirder, and Ariel, Io's character, tries to continue to escape. She is stabbed and basically downed kind of in the bathroom here. She then is tied up. She basically like passes out. We fade to black. We wake back up. She's tied up with another one of these people or two of these people around all of the followers. They're called levelers, I think.
Yeah.
Moretti is on stage with a piano, and he's wearing like a big white garment, I believe. And basically they try to get her to drink something. Did we ever figure out what that was? Because she specifically asks what was in the drink.
So that was another part when she's in that house and she's running away, that she sees this bottle and it very clearly is labeled cyanide. And then for some reason next to that bottle is the champagne bottle that they use later on. So
really got me there.
We're led to believe that cyanide is in the champagne bottles.
Okay, great. Yeah, really. Well, I really caught on to that, as you could tell. This is when we get like another escape where basically you got to help me remember here. One of the guys comes to Io and is like, I'm cutting you loose. When I say this, you need to go.
Exactly. It was one of the concierge, the one that actually does like the shaving, the whatever.
Fashion part of like the fashion. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, as she's cutting Ariel's rope, she's telling her like, run for the gate. When you get to the gate, take a right. And then she says something else that I couldn't quite understand. And
so why is she helping Ariel?
Again, no clue. I mean, other than I guess it's all part of like Moretti's big plan, you know, which we learn later on. But in that moment, you're just like, why is this person helping? Like, there's been no sign that like they're friendly, that they even like each other. Like, this doesn't make any sense right now. And I don't know that it makes sense later either. But
I don't think it does. Moretti catches on fire and it's intense. We get escape number 2, which I thought was redundant and quite lame. That it's like, okay, we just did this 6 minutes ago. And then Ariel runs out of the compound and climbs over the fence. We kind of get this, again, like visual representation. The cuts on her hand might allude to other things. And meets up with one of the Moretti superfans that are outside. And is like, I need to take your car. She does something with her nails. And I remember that, like,
it's like
some kind of punch that we learn in the first 2 minutes of this movie in a Chinese restaurant, right?
Yep,
okay.
yeah.
It's dumb, stupid. Honestly,
So
I thought it was terribly, terribly.
And we get a close
uninteresting.
up of her fist, like making the 3-finger thing. I'm like, all right, cool.
We got it. She steals this guy's car, who has a bobblehead of Moretti. Now, the only note that I took about this is A24 merch. Like, they're going to sell this, right? They have to.
Yeah, they have to do that. Like, it's just right there. It's perfect.
I'd be so surprised if they didn't. Like, it is close. It has a close up for so long that it's just really, that's all that they were trying to, like, subliminally market to you is like, you'll be able to own this too in 4 weeks. Don't worry. You can put it right there on your car. Cut to 2 years later. Ariel goes to prison to interview Moretti. She has a book that Moretti basically is like, I see your whole book. They were, it was not alligator. It was rattlesnake boots or something. Yeah. She's like, oh no, that's the only takeaway you had. And he's like, don't worry. It's all part of my big plan. And then she then is like quite confused, just like I was, and then goes on a talk show interview to continue her book tour after, again, talking to Tony Hale's character, which I thought was totally unnecessary. I don't even remember what they talked about, to be frank with you. Like, I don't know. And then she goes on this thing, and, you know, we're kind of getting this like Malkovich voiceover where it's like, you know, we are everywhere, and like, you know, the levelers and all this kind of stuff. And it's like zooms in on Ariel noticing that the interviewer of the show is wearing a pearl necklace in the same style that Moretti and his followers were wearing. And it's supposed to be like this big, like, wow, the culture accepts anybody. They will vilify and villainize and worship anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's very successful.
No, not at all. It's like, it's such a rough ending. It doesn't land, I think, the way that they wanted it to. There is a powerful ending in there of just like, no, this is exactly where I want it to be with you right now. And I'm kind of going to explain to you why, but nothing of that really happens. And it's just kind of confusing dialogue. And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's not well done. And it's such an unfortunate thing because I feel like there's something good here. But then she goes, yeah, like you said, on that talk show, sees the interviewer has the pearl necklace, freezes, and then we cut to black, or we cut to yellow, I guess. But
yeah.
And then that's it. Then we're done.
Yeah. I did make a note that the ending song is from the band TV on the Radio. That song, most notably from the Breaking Bad, I want to say season 2 penultimate episode. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it's basically where Walt goes to the Home Depot, as it were, and is like, I buy these products. Get out of here. Like, this is my job now. And it's really the first time in the series of Breaking Bad where Walt does that. And I have always loved that song because of that. And I thought that song was really fun. And so I stayed a couple of minutes to listen to it very loudly in my theater, because that was the most fun that I had in quite some time of watching that film.
Yeah. TV on the Radio is great. So yeah, it was cool to hear that. Okay,
what's your true cinema moment, Ben?
Oh, I forgot I have to pick something.
You do have to pick one.
Man, my true cinema moment here.
You don't have to give a reason. I'll let you escape on that one.
I appreciate that. It's again, like, I like the idea of when she goes for the run, the concierge follows her. Like, they have to keep like the eye contact, or like the contact with her. But it, again, just doesn't feel like we get why, or they talk about why, other than just like, they can never leave your sight. But I like the thought behind it. It was like, oh yeah, it would be creepy to have someone just following you the whole time. So I'm going to go with that. Yeah.
Fine choice. I'm going to go with Moretti pretending to suck people off at his performance. I think that was a hoot. It's a good time.
It was hilarious.
Okay. A1 Act here. Movies about cults. Because why not? That this movie is in fact about a cult, even though it has very little to say about cults. It is still about a cult. So we've got Opus, The Invitation, The Sacrament, Martha, Marcy, May, Marlene, Wicker Man, Eyes Wide Shut, Rosemary's Baby, The Master, The Endless, Mandy, Kill List, The Ritual, The Void, Apostle, Women Talking, and Hereditary I threw in here, and I guess Midsommar.
Midsommar, yeah.
Why not? Throw that in there as well. That was my short list that I kind of stole from Reddit.
I think that's great. I think it's a really good list. Obviously, we've been talking about Midsommar here, so to me, that's the top. But I am, in a sense, going to throw in another one that's like kind of about cults, but one that I think I like enjoyed and want to revisit, and that's Heretic, another A24 film talking about the Latter-day Saints and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go with that one. A little bit of a different take on cults, but I like that.
I like that a lot. My heart wants to go with Eyes Wide Shut just because I fucking love that movie. It's a little less about cults and a little bit more about the internal struggle for love and power. So I will steer clear of that. I'm actually going to go with a movie that I need to rewatch. I feel like I was a little harsh when I saw it. Maybe not as mature in my movie watching career. I'm going to go with Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. Kind of a similar idea to Heretic of like, not your average cult, but here's where we are and the power of speech.
So I mean,
The Master.
And we have two of America's greatest actors of all time, like going
just duking
battle.
It out.
Yeah. And Amy Adams. Like it's so good. It's a wonderful film.
All-time iconic on-screen hand job from Amy Adams.
Yeah, for sure.
Undoubtable. Okay, A24 ranking for Opus, the film that we have just talked about. I will make you do this as well. I'm so sorry.
I think I'm gonna go with a D24.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. I that feels accurate to me. It's not a complete failure. You know what I mean? Sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but like, it's not a complete failure. Again, there's something there, but it's, this isn't The Sky Is Everywhere. This isn't that bad, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Wow. Really making me see the light of day there, that things do get worse. Okay. So you're going with a D24. How many stars did you give this on Letterboxd? Have you
I haven't logged it yet. No.
Do you know how many stars you are going to give it?
1.5, I think.
Oh, okay. So in that case, I gave it 2 stars. I'm gonna go with a D+.
Okay.
Just for conversation's sake here. Like we've said, there's some redeeming ideas here, and I do actually like the listening session. I think like that as like a little miniature YouTube clip would be kind of fun. But other than that, I think this is quite a poor and subpar outing from probably all involved, which is, unfortunate. No ill will to the filmmaker, to the cast, anybody like that, but the movie is not great.
Yeah, it's a bummer. No one sets out to make a bad movie, obviously. Right. And like you said, I think this script is just kind of rough, and when you're an actor, you can only work with what you're given, so that none of them really had a chance. Yeah.
It was tough. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this conversation about Opus. Do you have any other thoughts that you want to say about this film that you maybe forgot, didn't say?
I feel like I've talked about this more than I ever thought I would in my entire life. I don't know that this will ever come up again. I'm trying to think of the context in which it'd be like, that makes me think of Opus or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, this might be the last time in my life I talk about this.
Yeah, we can only hope so. I'm in the same boat as you. I hope we don't have to revisit this film. Opus, not a very good movie. Next time on the pod, we're talking about Death of a Unicorn, movie that premiered at South by Southwest just a couple of weeks ago. And I have my reservations about how I will feel about this film. So
you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen it. Okay. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to love it. So I'll just put that out there into the universe. I'm a little apprehensive. That's all.
That's totally fair. I can't get a read on the trailers. I really don't know what I'm going to think about it. So I'm just going in, hopefully, with open eyes. We'll see.
Well, yeah, we can hope it's better. It's better than Opus. We'll be doing Death of a Unicorn and Warfare in April. That is the plan. I believe Warfare is doing like a special kind of one night only IMAX preview screening a few days before it goes nationwide. Unfortunately, I won't be able to see it on that IMAX screening. And then my theaters here are not showing it in IMAX for its general run. So I'm going to have to see this movie about sound in a lowly, lame theater, not an IMAX screen. So that kind of sucks.
So sorry to hear that.
But yeah, we'll be covering that. And then I think our plans for May, Legend of Ochi, Friendship, something else. We'll figure it out as we go. But good to be back. Good to pod.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be back here. Again, like kind of brushing the cobwebs away, and we're back at it. Now I remember I have to pick a scene for True Cinema, even if I didn't like the movie. Yeah, that's good. That's good. What are your thoughts on Opus? Let us know. We're on Twitter and Instagram at 24 Minutes of A24. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch our beautiful faces as we talk about these projects. Thank you, everybody, for your support. We really appreciate it. We're glad to be back. We'll see you all in a couple weeks. I'm Ben Lawhorn.
And I'm Ethan Simi. Spring break forever, bitches.